the most, it's a lazy feat. For Tiberius seeks challenges, he won't accept defeat. On Web App Wednesday, watch him unveil the secrets of hacking without any fail. Wisdom and passion, he tells his tale. In the world of cyber, he always prevails. So here's to Tiberius, the ethical hacker with flair. On his live stream journey, he takes you there to the depths of web apps with time to spare. He's the guardian of the net with knowledge to share.
Hello. Hello, chat. Get some music going. Hey, how good these sound. They're so good. It's really well put together. Yes, hello. Welcome to Web Up Wednesday. HV Leos, want to pick your brain about a cybersec career thing? Absolutely. Let me know what you want. What you want to know. Legend wrote this song. Some legend wrote this song. ChatGPT wrote the song. The song is entirely AI generated. Even the captions, technically, I used Descript to make the captions. So even AI did the captions. I need to make some more of them. I need to actually know what I need to do. I need to release the album. I have an entire album of AI generated songs I really need to put on Spotify. I discovered a way you could get them on Spotify for free. So I'm gonna do that. I have some really good songs. I mean, I say I. I got tons. I got some that I can't release yet because they're very specific for specific people / organizations. But I do have I have some about Only Feet. I have obviously the one about Al, the Ode to Burp Suite Pro. I have two which are Only Feet related, and the story behind them is a bit odd, but they're called Molt the Manatee and also Molt the Manatee Kids version. And it's one of those things where you kind of had to be there to get the reference. Let's just say it was a funny fucking reference at the time. Still is, but yeah. We'll have AI videos. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When AI videos come and I can like make a stupid anime opening, it's gonna be great. What else do I have? I have one about Helen and her dog, Helen of Tor. I have the Feet Feud theme song, which I may be able to play at DEF CON this year. I don't know. Early 30s, just finished cybersec degree. No search, switch from aircraft maintenance. If you were me, what steps would you take to make yourself a stronger, higher OSCP? You can't usually go wrong with OSCP, for sure. PMPT is pretty good in the meantime. So PMPT or OSCP is really good. I mean, like, what do you want to get into? I guess pen testing is what you want to get into, right? Because you just said cybersec degree, I assume you want to be a pen tester. Because OSCP is great if you want to be a pen tester, not so much if you want to be anything else in cyber. OSP can be bad when you're starting out. I mean, not really. It was originally designed as an entry-level cert. I don't necessarily think it is an entry-level cert. Maybe looking at SOC analyst. Okay, I mean, OCP probably... You don't need OCP for SOC analyst. To be quite honest with you. I'm not entirely sure what you do need for SOC analyst. Maybe there are some SOC analysts in chat who will be able to help. I can generally give good advice when it comes to like pen testing, but SOC analyst isn't really something I'm very familiar with. Sorry, I'm just trying to check something. You know when you get a tweet and it like disappears? Ah, there you go. Alright. Either way, when I got into... Sorry. It's funny because when I originally got into cybersec, I didn't realize how massive it really... Yeah, it's honestly become massive. Like, the industry was tiny when I first entered it. And now it's ballooned. It's ridiculous. Like, I feel like we grew out of IT originally. And then we kind of started just absorbing sections of IT. So there's definitely, like, if you look at the IT cybersecurity Venn diagram, there's a massive amount of overlap. It really just depends on the company you work at, right? So a lot of the time, if you're at like a really large company, the cybersecurity team and the IT team, there's like a lot of overlap in that area. But yeah, plan to get my CPTS. What is CPTS? There's so many fucking acronyms these days. Oh, it's the Hack the Box one. I've heard good things. I haven't tried. I really do mean to at some point take it and give feedback on it. I've heard good things. But that's the thing. I can't really say because I don't have any experience with it. I should definitely do it though. Would you prefer to go for bug bounty, the practice on labs, or just straightforward with the real targets? I mean, you should do both. Like, obviously, there are so many cool labs these days, especially port swiggers. So you should definitely practice until you feel competent. But like, nothing beats the real thing. The real thing will basically, it'll show you how freaking difficult this job can be, though, because you know you're not gonna go start on a bounty program and immediately find an SQL injection. Like, it just doesn't happen. Had an intern starting himself blind in OCP and putting all his effort into it. It broke his heart when he failed. Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those exams where I don't know. You should probably prep for it at least. Like, it's not something I would say just start doing OCP and like pay the 3 months, and then you'll be able to do the exam after 3 months. Like, it's something I would definitely prepare for, and PMPT can help with that, especially with their junior cert now as well. Where do you live? Because I want to visit you when I come to the USA. Okay, firstly, that's a bit creepy. I understand the sentiment. Meet me at cons,
Surgeon just redeemed wheel spin.
I'm fine meeting people at cons. I'm not prepared to generally meet random fans on just in real life. Let's keep real life and this shit different and separate, please. But yeah, if you're at DEFCON, absolutely come meet me. I got attempt number 2 on CISSP next week. Any tips? I've never taken the CISSP, nor do I want to. It seems like, honestly, I just don't see the need for it. So I don't really know what it entails, to be honest. A bit of a niche question. I was reading up on SAML-based attacks earlier today, and while a lot of the attack vectors made sense, X6E, given that it's XML, signature bypassed when the signature isn't actually checked, I realized I had no idea how to connect that back to what I do know how to test for. In a real scenario, how do you recognize something like SAML being used? I'm not entirely, like, you recognize it because you would see it being used. Like, so SAML is interesting. Like,
thank you for following.
SAML's I would more associate with APIs, and so you would use it because the API uses it, right? There are a lot of plugins you can use for Burp, like SAML Radar, which is pretty good. But generally speaking, you'll know it when you see it because you'll have to use SAML assertions to interact with the API itself. Does that make sense? X6E actually is very tricky in SAML. Like it's extremely rare to find X6E in SAML just because most SAML instances I've come across disable XML headers. So you can't put doc types in SAML assertions most of the time. If you Google like HackerOne SAML XXE, you'll find them. But it's very rare. I've started calling many forms of XSS HTML injection just to spite some people. I would call it JavaScript injection. That's the thing. The name XSS kind of stuck, but it makes literally no sense. Cross-site scripting makes very little sense. It made sense back in the day because it was effectively it was running scripts and sending requests cross-site, right? But now it's not. So, like even though I rag on the OS top 10, rightly so because it's crap. The one good thing they did do is they put when they had injection as a category separate to XSS, that made no sense because XSS is an injection vulnerability. At the core, it's basically JavaScript injection. So when they merged it into injection, that was something I agreed with. I don't agree with injection just being there. I think when you have a category that includes XSS, SQL, like SQLi, command injection, etc., like server-side template injection, it's just stupid. It's like that's a lot of vulnerabilities in that same category for a top 10. Have you got the port speaker cert? No. I've meant to. So what happens is if you certs are really useful early in your career, and then they become increasingly unuseful. Is that a word? The longer your career goes on, because ultimately the more experience counts for so much. Experience is the most important thing. More than any cert, experience is the most important thing. And you get to a point in your career where experience counts for basically everything. And so I've never had to really do any certs. So then it just becomes a timing issue. It's like I definitely want to do the port speaker cert just because it seems interesting to me. My issue is I've never had a need to do it, right? So if a company If I was working at a company and they were saying, hey, you need to get this cert, otherwise we have to fire you. Well, firstly, I'd probably quit. But, like, let's just say I didn't quit. Let's just say that they were the only company. I would get the cert, right? But I've just never had to. So it becomes like a time thing. Like, do I need it? No. Do I want it? A little bit. Literally had an app last week where input filtering and sanitizing was practically non-existent. You'd be surprised how many Fortune 500 company devs still miss the mark. I'm not surprised. So yeah, not surprised at all. Are you gonna be disappointed when I don't actually have an origami fox mask? Yes, you have to take one. You have to bring one to DEF CON. I just feel like studying for OCP is already really putting yourself ahead and understanding, but I'm a noob in the space. Yeah, but the thing is, OCP is a pen test exam. If you're doing SOC analyst stuff, you're not doing pen test stuff. So there are some SOC analysts like Blue Team platforms out there that I would look into more. Like TryHackMe has a whole SOC analyst study thing, I think. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. All XSS is HTML injection, but not all HTML injection is XSS. Exactly, yes. Actually, I wouldn't even say all XSS is HTML injection. Let's be clear. Some XSS is DOM-based, which is not HTML injection. So I would even debate that. XSS is JavaScript injection. Practically always. Some XSS is HTML injection. Some XSS is like injects directly. So I mean, there's various contexts, right? So sometimes you'll be injecting into an HTML context. Sometimes you'll be injecting directly into a JavaScript context. Sometimes you'll be injecting into a context which is text-based, but then due to the DOM, it becomes JavaScript-based, kind of. It's weird. It's whatever it is, XSS is always injection of some kind. Better question. Assuming you're able to get a subdomain takeover and host your own JS files, what are you trying to do with this in hand? What do you test for beyond just XSS? In what... Wait, what sense? You mean like what can you do with the XSS? I'm not entirely sure what the question was supposed to be. What should I bring to B-sides? Which B-sides? What's your favorite exploit to look for? My favorite exploit to look for is SQL injection, for sure. It depends on the type of XSS. When you inject HTML, that happens to execute blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Alright, hang on. Slowly reading through. Blue team learning pattern, TryHackMe. Yes, exactly. That's what I was talking about, I think. I think that part of it is a SOC analyst, right? Any advice for CSP bypass? Yeah, there's some good stuff on Portswigger Web Academy. There's also some good stuff on Hacktricks. I never understand what a DOM really is. Oh, let's explain what a DOM is then. All right, hang on. Firstly, Tibbs Tubbs has taken off. So we got some really good tubs submitted. We got Albino Wax, right? Director of Research at Portswigger. This is James Kettle, right? Submitted to my meme It displays the time and date at which the Bamda was executed. Perfect, love it. It's a stupid one line that returns the date at which the column was calculated. Again, this is pointless, utterly fucking pointless. And then we have this one, Tom Lefley, who also works at this guy does a lot of work on the burp scanner. So Portswinger are well aware of what I have created, and they are actively involved. Yeah, so I got two Portswinger devs technically. This is awesome, right? This is Concernometer. This looks at the response body, and it counts the number of question marks. Okay, it counts the number of question marks in the response body, and then if the account is 0, it returns cool. If it's less than 5, it returns calm. If it's less than 10, it returns concern. Otherwise, it returns panic. So it's displays how concerning a response is. Very interesting. Very interesting. I also created 2. Actually, I created another one this morning. So I created one Morse method. So maybe we can install this. Let's install this in Burp. Crap. Open the browser. Then we'll get on to what the DOM is in a minute. Hang on. All right. Okay, so let's delete this stupid column. All right, delete the poop column. I'm going to add a custom column. We're going to call this the Morse method. Okay, and then we're going to drag it over. There we go. And now we can just remove this method because we don't need this method anymore. All right. So this Morse method replaces the method column, and it shows what the current HTTP method is, but very specifically, it does it in Morse code. All right, so let's do a post request. Probably need the port, would be helpful. All right, there we go. So clearly, if you know Morse code, right, this is clearly a get. This is clearly a post. Simple. All right. So that's that. This one, the Tiberius, very cool. This is my second favorite, I think. So we're gonna call this Tiberius. This every single copy of Burp should have this. There you go. Now you got me. You got me looking at all your... Actually, let's put it here. There we go. Now I can see all your requests and responses. Yes. Oh, I'm up here again. Hang on. I need to reposition myself. Wait a minute. Nobody bought this transform yet. There we go. We're back down here, where I belong. All right. Okay. That's pretty good. Then this one is my favorite, cat pics. Mind-bogglingly simple, the fact that you can do this, by the way. This is really cool. Add custom column. We're going to call it cats. And then we're just going to go over here. Oh, shit. Hang on. So, what happens with this one, let's just refresh. We get a different picture of a cat each time. If you look at the code, all we do is we go to this website. This is catasaservice.com, which I discovered. If you literally load this site, it just randomly gives you a cat pic every single time. Yeah, it's catasaservice.com. So cataas.com. And so just FYI, this do not do this. Do not load this one. I even put here, don't use this. Because not only will this send a request for every single thing you have here, right? It'll also do it whenever you like refresh this. If you start doing this stuff, it should regenerate them, like, I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah, regenerates every single time. So you'll just be sending a massive amount of requests to this website for no fucking reason. So don't do it. It's funny if you just want to look at it and do a few requests like this. Alright? But please don't actually use it. Anyway. We'll definitely be getting some more stuff out. If you can think of any useless BAMDers, totally useless BAMDers, by the way, not just useless, totally useless, please submit a PR. What's what called? Anyway, we were talking about what the DOM is, right? Who had a question about the DOM? I forget who had a question about the DOM. I'm scrolling up trying to look for it. Hey, someone had a question about the DOM. Right. The DOM is a document object model. So basically, the DOM is honestly the most important part of how websites work. So when you load a website through a browser, right? You make an HTTP, well, the browser makes an HTTP request, like for this, in this case, it made an HTTP request to example.com, right? And example.com sent back this HTML. And this HTML is literally just text. Okay, there's nothing fancy here, it's just text. To display the website, the browser has to basically parse the HTML and then render the HTML according to, what the HTML says. So in this case, it says give the page a title of example domain right here. So it gives an example domain as the title. Okay, it loads in a few meta elements. Don't worry about those. But then it loads the body, which has a div, which has an h1, a heading 1 attribute, an attribute element, paragraph element, another paragraph element, etc. Right? So you have this. But it could just leave it there. There's no reason why it couldn't just render this and just display it, right? But with JavaScript, you need a way to interact with certain elements on the page. And so what ends up happening is you turn this HTML code into a document object model. And what that generally means, it's basically, like someone mentioned, it's basically a big tree. All right? You can actually view the document object model if you go to the Inspect tab and go to Console. All right? And type window. Not window, sorry, document. Yeah, well, window is kind of it. Yeah. So document is technically the DOM. All right. So you can see here we've got some elements here. So document itself references the actual document here, right? But you can do stuff like you can query the DOM. So document dot get element by name. So you can think of it as like an interface. Right, let's do P. Oh wait, not by name, by class. Class name. Oh, Jesus, come on. No, not even class name. Tag name. Sorry, I rarely use this system. Tag name. There we go. Now we should be able to do P. There we go. Okay. So, can I open... Let's open Obsidian. And we'll open a new... We'll close this one. Alright, we'll do this Excel drawing. Here we go. Okay. So, what you generally have in... So, a document... a document will have... its root element, right, which could be HTML. Okay. And the HTML element here, it might actually be better to put this into this, because then we should be able to do, yeah. We collapse everything down. Alright, so you see the HTML element has a head element and a body element. So the HTML element has two children. Alright, this is why it's a tree. And can we just copy this? Yes, we can. Okay. Okay, so it has a head and it has a body. Okay. Let's go into the head. So the head has a title. It has 3 meta elements. It has a style element. And that's it. Okay, so we're not going to draw all those out, but let's just draw them in one big blob or something, right? So it has a title, has a meta 3 times, and a style. And again, all these are like elements in their own thing, right? They all have children as well. Are you drawing in Obsidian? Yes, I'm drawing using Excalidraw. It's really cool. All right, the body has one child. It has a div. So the body has a div. Okay, and the div has... Let's just collapse that. The div has 3 direct children, an H1, a P, and a P. So we'll do... H1. We have a P there, paragraph element, and a paragraph element here. And I believe we've got one more layer. Yeah, this P technically has an anchor reference element. So this final P here has its own child, which is this. Okay. Now, technically, this isn't where it goes, actually. These both have children as well. What these children generally have is a text element. Alright, so... And this P would also have a text element as well. Okay? So, text is a bit weird, it's a bit special. It technically refers to the content of certain tags. Okay? And the idea with this is that this is a tree. It's non-recursive. All right. Which basically means you can't have a child that has a child which you can't have a relationship like this, right? You can't have that. You can't have an element contain one of its parents or hard to explain, right? You can't have like a circular relationship, like just impossible. And no incest. Well, yeah, basically no incest. Every single element has one parent. That's very important. Okay, there's only one parent. Elements can have multiple children. They can have multiple siblings. So this group here, these are all siblings. Okay. These are all siblings. Okay. These guys are siblings here. Can I rotate? Yes. Yeah. Right. So they're siblings. Okay. This guy doesn't have any siblings. All right. Let's do a tier as well, actually. Okay, that guy's an only child. Alright. HTML is always alone. Alright, because you can't have two HTML elements. At least you shouldn't. To be honest, you probably could. The browser is going to complain. It's probably only going to render the first one. But yeah. And the idea here is that you can't... This is really useful. So this is implemented as a tree like this, but this makes a lot of sense programmatically. Because you can always reference the top of the tree, and you can always explore the tree very easily, right? Because each of these... via the API, each of these elements has different functions attached to it. Right, so if you call document, right, and you just grab the first element, right, the HTML element, you can call like the children function, right, and that will provide you with two elements, the head and the body. And then you might want to go with the body. Again, you can call children.
Thank you for following.
Right, you can get a list of that. You can like call siblings. There's like sibling functions to basically jump around. So it's extremely easy to sort of manipulate the DOM. You can also, because it's all programmatically like this, you can add functions to specific elements. That's how, you know, how you would do... Let's just go to google.com. Let's say we started typing Tiberius, right? You see all of this like coming up? This is all JavaScript. But what's happened is we have this HTML element right here. And what they've done, what Google have done in their JavaScript code, is they've added a function to this DOM object, right? That basically listens for whenever you type something. Testosterone, lol. And it grabs hold of what you're typing, and then uses JavaScript. It sends it to an API at the back end, and then it adds these custom results. Okay? Does that make sense? Have I explained it okay? So realistically, the DOM is multiple things, but ultimately, what it is this tree structure containing every single HTML element in the page. Okay? And it's also a way of programmatically altering the page, as well as adding functionality, adding certain listeners and interacting with the page. And that's why, you know how I always I always like double check when I always use inspect, right? A lot of the time, instead of looking at the source code, I'll look at the source code initially, but realistically, if you have a modern JavaScript application, the source code when the page loads is kind of useless, right? Because it doesn't tell you anything. Thanks for the raid. Who raided us? Hey, Handles. Hey, man. How are you? So, the fact is, when you click view source, even let's say I do, all right, let's just type Tiberius here, right? Okay, so I've typed Tiberius. Look at all this. We've got all these Tiberius references. If I now view the page source, all right, so we're viewing the page source. If I type Tiberius, nothing. All right, but what? But Tiberius is everywhere. And that's because the page source literally just is what the web server sent originally. Okay? You won't find any references to Tiberius in the source code. However, if you do inspect, and you go to console, or not even console, if you go to elements, we should be able to search the elements list here for Tiberius. And why isn't it finding it? Do you have to search here? You should be able to search somehow. There is a way. Because ultimately there should be. Oh, you know why? It might actually... So, yeah, this view of the DOM is different. So this actually might just be... Yeah, oh, searching that one tag. Maybe. There usually should be a way of searching the elements. I don't use it that often, so... Oops. In the wrong search bar? Very likely, yeah. Can I just do Control F? Yeah, there we go. There we go, Tiberius, and it's finding it everywhere, see? It's found 30 instances of Tiberius. Okay, this is what's actually on the page right now. Okay? But even this isn't the DOM. Alright, this is a visualization of the tree. Okay? So this is useful. This is practically the DOM, right? But this is also the DOM over here. Okay? So each element in the DOM has attributes. Okay? And those attributes can be related to like CSS, and they can also be JavaScript related. Alright, so all these attributes here, right, the height attributes, are all manipulated by the DOM. You also have event listeners. Okay? So we have various event listeners. These are basically JavaScript functions that are fired whenever certain things happen. Okay? So you have some event listeners used on change. You have some of them when input happens, right? So yeah, there's just a lot of crap. Like all of this, all these properties for every single element. If you click an element here, let's click this div. You can actually see, it might not be easy to see. I don't think I can increase the fonts. Oh, I can. Here we go. All right. So let's actually, you know what? Let's just go to this element here. Do a text area. Actually, no, that's a bad element. Let's go to this one. This is a div containing this. So this div has some various boring elements here. But then it has this one, right? Child nodes. So these are all the children. So this node has a text node, then it has a div, and another text, a div, another text, a script, a text. You'll find out that actually text nodes technically are separating everything. All right, usually. So yeah, but you can see basically we have a div, script. And the same for this. We have children, div, script. And I need to explain the event loop to explain when they're fired. No, we're not doing that. All right. So you can think of the DOM in multiple different ways, is I guess my point. Ultimately, it's kind of it's a tree, but it's also a way of interacting with the page programmatically. Okay? And DOM XSS is effectively, it's a way, if you can manipulate the... This is why I often quote, you may have heard me say this before, like, technically all XSS is DOM XSS. Because effectively, nowadays, in web applications, everything's done by the DOM. The DOM is the most important thing in a web application front end. All right? Any JavaScript, right? Even if it's in an HTML tag, even if it's in... like an actual script tag, that all becomes executed because of the DOM. Nothing happens without the DOM these days. All right. So technically speaking, if you really want to be like technically correct about it, the DOM, all XSS is DOM XSS because all XSS happens on the DOM. All right, we have a wheel spin 37 minutes ago that I apparently missed. Fundamental disagree on the word injection. What would you say you mean then? Oh. Another previous course giveaway. I mean, what do you mean by the word injection? I would say you inject in the context of HTML, aka HTML injection. That gets loaded and becomes a DOM. Yeah. I'm just saying I'm saying all XSS is technically DOM XSS if you think about it. Like you can have both. You can have HTML injection, like XSS via HTML injection, but that also just means HTML injection is part of the DOM as well. That's all I mean. So in the injection is literally how the payload gets there, but technically speaking, everything executes via the DOM anyway. So if you're able to maliciously insert some XSS, it always ultimately ends up in the DOM. So, therefore, it's DOM XSS. DOM XSS to me means it injects directly into the DOM, but nothing really injects directly into the DOM. That's the thing. Like, that doesn't make any sense, injecting directly into the DOM, to be honest. You can't really inject into the DOM. What you can do is you can manipulate certain values such that when the DOM uses them, you get some kind of injection, but that's not injecting into the DOM. That's still injecting into some kind of JavaScript, which then uses that maliciously. In my opinion, anyway. Alright, bundles. Who had the... It was Red Jam. Okay. We're gonna... we'll do it until 6 p.m. tonight. Okay, here we go. How long do Udemy coupon codes last? They technically a month, I think. These aren't on Udemy though. These aren't Udemy coupon codes. These are specific coupon codes for my own website. All right. So if you go to courses.tiberius.com and you go to the bundle, and then you use the code 0xredjam,
Thank you for following.
you should get 100% off. Melissa favorite quotes: "Knowledge is knowing that DOM excess exists. Wisdom is knowing that all excess." Exactly. Yeah. Ultimately, if you took away I guess my real point is if you took away the DOM, there wouldn't be XSS in the first place in modern web applications, because the only reason XSS even has something to do is because of the DOM. The DOM and JavaScript are intrinsically linked at this point. So, you know, that's my reasoning anyway. Would say DOM access probably doesn't really occur. It's just the injection ends up in the DOM, barely any vulnerability. Right, exactly. What the original definition of DOM access and what DOM access effectively is you can manipulate some value. Actually, let me. We have like, let's just say we have the HTML injection XSS, right? Which is where you have like something like this. You have an input, and you have some value. Yeah, like this, and then you can inject here. Okay, so this is your injection. And so what you could potentially do is in your injection you could do an escape out of the attribute. You could maybe escape out of the element, and then you can inject a script tag, right? Or potentially, if you can't escape out of the element, but you can still escape out of the attribute, you could do something like this, right? You could do something like on error or on mouse over equals alert, right? So those are HTML injection because the initial context is HTML. And then you have JavaScript injection, XSS. By the way, I still consider this JavaScript injection. All right, it's still technically injecting some kind of JavaScript. It just is in an HTML context. All right, you have this, and this is where you have something like this. So you have a script already on the page, and you have some var a equals, and then somehow your injection gets here, right? And in this case, the payload you might have, I mean, obviously you would escape out of that again, and then do alert 1, and then just do like a comment, right? That would be a valid injection here, okay? And then you have DOM XSS, which is kind of similar to this in the sense that there's already a script on the page, right? And the script does something it runs some malicious, or not some malicious, some vulnerable function, right? And it passes in some property of the DOM. All right. So, for example, can you get like document.url? Is that one? Hang on a minute. Is it like document.href? No, is it document. God, I don't know this. JavaScript get current URL. Window.location.href. That's what I always forget. I think it might be document.location as well. But window.look. Oh my god, why is it? Yeah, here we go. So it might do something like this. Right. Not that. Okay. And so, or it might even grab like document dot get elements by ID, right? Some element. And you can manipulate the reference, right? So you can manipulate what it's actually referencing. So if you can store a value in this element by some other means, even if it's completely innocuous, right? Or you can store a value in the window.location.href, and it uses it in some vulnerable way. Like for example, it might use it in an eval, right? Yeah. So that way, what you can do is you're not technically injecting into the HTML or the JavaScript, but what you're doing is you can control some part of the page or some part of the window, right, which is pulled in by the JavaScript using the DOM. And so, like in this case, right, window.location.href is the URL, and so luckily, like we might be able to put something in the URL after like the fragment. All right. So we might be able to put some JavaScript in here, document.cookie or something, right? Or even just alert. Yeah. And we might be able to manipulate this in some way. Does that make sense? So it's an interesting attack method. It's extremely difficult to find because you have to be reading all the JavaScript and stuff. But you can see how it's different to both of these, right? So you're not really injecting anything, kind of. Makes sense, but we're completely different how we name it. What do you mean? I haven't. Is that the one that costs like $1,000? Jay Wuzzle. Yeah, I haven't used it because of that reason. I've talked to the guy about it. So his reasoning for the price is he wants to limit the number of people who use it because he's a one-man shop. And so like his issue is if he sold it for less, then he'd have more customers to deal with, which I guess is a fair point. I still think it's a ridiculous amount of money to pay for a tool, to be honest. I would call the second one technically HTML injection because you inject into the HTML. Kind of. This is definitely more specifically JavaScript-y than this, though. That's the thing. DOM Invader does kind of automate this, yes. But anyway, I think you can argue these three are different. Like, this one is clearly injecting directly into the HTML tags. This one, yes, it's technically directing into an HTML tag, but it's also injecting into JavaScript itself very specifically. Like, there's a subtle difference here. Okay, in this one, you have to start injecting into JavaScript somewhere, right? You have to start the JavaScript either whether it's a script tag or it's it's a JavaScript on event. All right, so that's the difference here. In this, you don't. All right, that's why these payloads are very different, right? So it is different, but yeah, ultimately this one will get parsed as HTML. So I understand your point there. This is totally different. Anyway, should we do a marble race? We haven't done a marble race. Do a marble race. And then we'll actually get onto some stuff. I don't know what we're going to do today, but we're going to do something. Let's play an official map. We haven't done an official map in a while. We've done Haunted Hills. Enemy at the gates? No. Portal Alley? That sucks. Oh, here we go. Cosmic Chaos. Unfortunately, this is only for Twitch viewers, unfortunately. This is just how it works. Exclamation point play. If you want to play, you got 6 seconds. Rotate myself clockwise by 10 degrees. Ooh, that's interesting. I'll do it when we get back to the regular view. I can't do it from here. Did you get last night's box? We got somewhere. We didn't solve it. It was annoying because it got to a point where it's like, well, it's like I think we have to like do some binary stuff. I hate binary stuff. Also, I guess we were supposed to recognize the name of a malware that I didn't recognize because
subscription received.
I don't do anything with malware.
Gratitude dispensed.
Vinyo Janos, thank you for resubscribing for 1 month at tier 1. You've been subscribed for 14 months so far. Awesome. Exclamation point play in chat. Alright, here we go. Who chat? You know the question I'm going to ask? Question I'm going to ask. Who is going to find the hole first? Most important question on the stream this afternoon. Who is going to find the hole first? Oh, it looks like it was Pony Lover, I think. I think it was Pony Lover, but Vinyo Janos has more speed right now. That marble over there is the stream record, currently held by Frank. Okay, we have Vice speeding along, could overtake Frank, and indeed does. Oh, but Ghost Exist speeding. Look at that. It's gonna be. Oh, I don't know. We've got next Plid. Injection Sec. Frank, the ghost of Frank is still really close. Vinyo Janos back in the lead. Overtaken by Mohammed. My goodness. Injection Sec. Closely followed by... This is going to be... Oh my goodness, Mohammed only overtake. Unfortunately gets slowed down a little bit. 0 sec and Mohammed right at the front there. This is going to be a close one. Ooh. 0 sec just makes it. That was close at the end. So many people. Unfortunately, didn't beat the record. 21 seconds behind the record. Frank. Oh, wait a minute. On 21 seconds behind world record, sorry. All right. Well done. What are we going to do today, chat? What are we going to do? Oh, yeah, I need to do my 10 degrees counter... Oh, sorry, clockwise. 10 degrees clockwise. We're just gonna balance me precariously here. All right. What do we want to do? We could try and find a web app box on one of the major platforms, or we could do Web Security Academy. May have undershot it. Where you want it to be a little, you want me to be a little more. Or do you want to be less? Do you want me? I could adjust to 5 degrees. Let's do a poll. Port Swigger, some web box. Right, I'll give you guys 2 minutes to vote on this. Port Swigger or some web box somewhere. All right, I'll let you vote on that. Then we will. I'll be back.
Thank you for following.
All right. What one? View results. Some webbox one. Interesting. All right. Rotate myself 69 degrees. Which direction, Hexit? Dealer's choice. All right. Let's do counterclockwise. 69 degrees counterclockwise. I believe means negative 59. Which puts me like this. Then I can just prop myself up against the side, look. There we go. That's a bit better. Rigged vote. Look, you guys have to vote. You can't complain. It was a fair vote. I gave you 2 minutes. All right. Search. Ooh. This is a walkthrough box, but let's have a look, because it might have some interesting concepts. Does it actually have a box that we can boot? It does, okay. Alright, should we do... Well, let's have a little look, shall we? Let's see. Come on. No, I think this is 120 minutes is how long they expect you to take on it. Alright, we'll do a vote. We will do either insecure deserialization, capture returns, which is a hard box, apparently. If it'll... Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay, Firefox has just decided to crash. Okay, we've got capture returns. And whatever this one is. What's your name, I think it was? Which room? Alright, so insecure deserialization. Capture returns. Or what? I think it's what's your name, but I can't click on it apparently, so... I'll give you a minute to vote on this. I don't know why the Firefox has decided to be crap now. Come on. Let's just kill Firefox. HK Horsey, thank you for subscribing with Prime. So far, Capture Returns is winning by a lot now, actually, by 3 votes. There we go. If I remember this box last time, it was it was a username enumeration or something, right? We did it. I think it was really annoying. So we'll see. We'll see how annoying this gets now. Why am I all my... Yeah, they are. All right. Okay, we're downloading the task files. All right, let's... Gonna unzip. Usernames and passwords. Oh, okay. Yeah, last time... Oh, yeah, it was a brute force. Right, that was it. Okay, so what we need to do is... connect to the VPN. Okay, we have an IP address. All right. Let's just use the map. So we'll do an all port scan. We'll do a version. Put min rate down to that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll adjust this down a bit. I guess we'll go to 1,000. Okay, so we do have a login page here. Got Tiberius looking on. We will just we'll disable Tiberius. Disable the Morse column as well. God. Just in case. Jessica wants me to say in British speech, the older you get, the more you hear from your skeleton. Interesting. Hello, just a guy. Alright, what the fuck? So... Literally just got port 80. Okay, so can we just do... Firstly, can we just do test and test? Okay, so I'm imagining there's going to be some kind of... There we go. Content length changed. You need to solve 3 captures in a row. Oh god. Okay. Just 614. Okay, I think we may have to skip this fucking block. Unless there's a bypass. Okay, what's that? 214? The thing is, there's no cookie. Here's the question. Can we do... We're going to use a test and a password test. Can we do test 1 password test? Test 2? Okay. So the thing is, this might be doable. Here's the thing. This is definitely doable. We can create a script to extract the information here, and then just solve it. The only issue is going to be whether there's something other than the square, triangle, circle. Exactly, OCR. We can use OCR for this. Assuming there's not something... Okay, what's this going to be? So that's going to be... Is it 289 or is it 279? No, it's not 79. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm going to use a calculator because this is like... You're asking me to do freaking math. 279. Okay, so here's what I want to know, right? Here's what I want to know is, let's copy this. Let's copy this. Because we know this is a square. Right? Let's just do a word wrap on it. If I can spell square, that would help. So that's a square. Alright, let's just do a test again. So we're in the learning stage here. So we know that there are some math problems and some of them are multiplication. This needs to be 47726. Oops, no. Numlock would be help. 47726. Okay, this shape is a circle. That's a big circle. Yeah, I mean, the question is going to be whether this is just going to be a frustrating coding exercise. Okay, finally we get the triangle again. Okay, so okay. So, you know what? Actually, let's save these. So I'm just gonna save the base 64. We're gonna save this as we'll put it in a new folder actually. Capture images. We're gonna save it as this is the square dot base 64. Not bash 64. We'll correct that in a sec. Okay, this is the triangle. No, this is the circle. Okay, and this is the triangle. Okay. So okay. The one thing I can immediately see, even if these don't end up being the same, right? Can you see what I've spotted? Like, even if these aren't end up being the same thing. What have I spotted, chat? 2754. Okay, so here's the triangle again. So let's check. So we know this. Triangle here. Okay, so it is basically, I think it is identical. Let's just do a char sum or something. Yeah, alright, it is identical.
Thank you for following.
So that's kind of annoying. I honestly think they could have made this better. They could have, what they could have done is generated these on the fly slightly differently. But the reason that would have been cooler, right? So it turns out these are just the same image, right? So if you get it's a triangle, you get the exact same image. But look at the sizes. The square image is 1,356 bytes. The circle image is 22,000. The triangle image is 79,000. So we don't even have to, technically, we don't have to even check like the signature of any of these. We can just check the size. We can just be, how many bytes is this? If it's over 79,000, it's a triangle. If it's over 22,000, it's a circle. Otherwise, it's a square. So, the other thing we need to do, let's just do this again. Is extract this image. So let's save this image. Is it a PNG? I think it's a PNG. We can actually double check. It's a PNG. Okay, so we need to use OCR. So we got Tesseract installed, I think. Apt search. Here we go. We want Tesseract OCR. Okay, we need to do sudo apt fix broken. Want to check the content length header? I mean, yeah, you could do that as well. Totes my goat. Hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good day too. I think it's good to try it in Harmsex Labs, which I think are real world scenarios instead of out of the box. Yeah, they're good as well. Alright. Let's Google how to use Tesseract, because I haven't used Tesseract in a while. How are custom calls with the ticks? Do you have to explain every time? No. Often they go away. They're not always frequent. I think I might not have installed the actual. Okay, I did. Okay, let's read. English is assumed by default. Okay, we can just put a dash there, I guess. All right, let's just try this then. So if we do Tesseract, // capture math.
Thank you for
Okay,
following.
excellent. Let's just double check there was the actual. Let's // Yes, it was 658 times 22. Lovely. All right, cool. Now we can write the Python. Let's just get away from all this crap. Hang on a minute. All right. Solve.py. Okay, so what we want to do here. They've given us the usernames and passwords. Found new features on side mentor streams. Why do you no longer feature that? Because I resigned. I worked for TCM Security for a while. Which is why I was on their site. Give me 2 6. Anyway, right. Need to use Beautiful Soup to grab the image. I don't think so. We can probably just extract it. I mean, maybe. Beautiful Soup might be useful to use. We're gonna use requests either way. Let's actually solve these though. Let's get back to 786 times 51. 4, 6. Okay. So what happens if we do? Okay, so we know there's an error in valid username or password that we can grab. All right. What we want to do is read lines from a file. So Python read lines from file into array or list. Might as well do that. I don't think these are particularly large either, are they? No. So we can just read them into memory. That's fine. Oh, wait. Nope. We want usernames equals line dot rstrip. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Now we can basically just copy this. We can use passwords. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to make a simple post. Request.post. And copy the URL. Data is going to be this. Username. Username. Password. Password. What day is it?
Every single day is Web App Wednesday because all I ever do is web apps.
All right. Then we should just do, okay, we're going to do response equals. Now we know if the response contains invalid username or password, and we'll make sure we're extracting it from the actual raw response here. Did I not copy? Come on. Nope, I did apparently, it just didn't work. That's an interesting one. Let's Python port requests. Request stop. Okay, yeah. So right. So I think is it response.body, I think? No, what is it? God, it's been so long since I've used the requests library. Python requests library. Response.text. How can I use it with Beautiful Soup, actually? I should probably... Okay, we can pass in a string. Alright, that's cool. So we can do this as well. B soup is... Okay, what would you use, ATEC Penguin? Don't just come in here hating on Beautiful Soup when you don't just request. Can request look up? Does request pass the HTML? I haven't used it in a while. I didn't think you could do that. Just grepping? Oh god, no. We don't want to do that. Okay, so if we find invalid username or password in response.text, we basically just want to continue. All right? So in other words, we want to go back and use the next password. Okay? However, if we get to a point where